Okay, let's get into this. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are plunging into Lake Michigan, a truly iconic place. Millions know it for, beauty, recreation. But our deep dive today, looking at excerpts from legends and lore of Lake Michigan, suggests there's, well, a whole other layer.
Oh, definitely. Secrets, stories hiding just beneath the waves.
So our mission here isn't just about the surface stuff.
Not at all. We're digging into the folklore, the context behind these tales, trying to shed some light on the really unexplained things that seem to haunt the lake and its shores. And importantly, we're sticking only to what's in this source material.
Right. This is really going beyond just, the geography of it all.
It is. It's about centuries of people encountering something else, something unknown on this huge ancient lake. Things that don't have easy answers.
Exactly. And the source presents Lake Michigan as, well, vast, ancient, beautiful, sure, but also potentially haunting.
Very much so. It's seen exploration, terrible shipwrecks. It's birthed all this folklore, mysterious disappearances.
It really pushes this idea that under that, sometimes calm-looking surface, there's this whole realm of unsolved mysteries. Ghost stories, almost.
Whispered down through the years, like the veil between worlds is maybe a bit thinner there.
And that seems especially true when you look at the stories of lost ships, vessels that just vanished.
Oh, yeah. Lake Michigan's claimed quite a few. Our material starts with maybe the most famous one, Griffon.
Griffon. That rings a bell.
Yeah.
Built way back 1679 by that French explorer, La Salle.
That's the one, René Robert Cavelier Sieur de La Salle. And its significance, according to the source, is massive.
Why is that?
Because it was the very first full-size sailing ship on the upper Great Lakes. A true pioneer vessel.
Okay, and it set off with cargo.
Yeah, valuable furs, heading back east, set sail.
And then nothing. Just gone.
Completely vanished, never made it back. Crew, ship, everything, never seen again, never found.
Wow.
And that complete disappearance is what fuels one of the lake's biggest legends.
Ghost ship stories, right. Sailors saying they see a three-masted ship drifting in the mist.
Exactly. Silent, no wake behind it. Just this phantom stuck on its last voyage.
So the source raises questions about how it vanished.
It does. Was it just a massive storm, a natural event, or... And this is where it gets interesting. Was it something more? Did the lake itself sort of take it as tribute?
That shifts it, doesn't it? From just a tragic accident to something almost conscious.
Yeah.
Elemental.
Yeah. It reflects how we try to make sense of total loss, finding patterns or even intention.
Speaking of loss, that story of the Christmas tree ship, the Rouse Simmons, that one's also really powerful.
Ah, yes. 1912. Captain Schwinneman, sailing from Michigan. Thompson, I think it was.
With Christmas trees for Chicago, such a, hopeful mission.
Bell of cheer, headed for families, but then...
The lake intervened again. A really bad winter storm hit.
Brutal. And days went by. Silence, the only clue. Those Christmas trees started washing up on shore.
Soggy, tangled.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking. A terrible sign of what happened.
And like Griffon, that tragedy becomes legend. People talk about seeing a phantom schooner, usually around December.
Still loaded down with trees, sails all tattered.
That's the image. They call it the Christmas tree ship.
And the belief is the crew's still out there trying to finish that last delivery.
That's the story.
Yeah.
That sense of duty, even after death. It really grounds the legend in that specific human sadness,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really resonates. Okay, so moving from ships on the lake, what about things maybe in the lake, creatures?
Right. Our material definitely goes there, into the deep and even under the ice.
Like the Lake Michigan sea serpent. I saw mentions of that going way back, mid-1800s.
Even as early as that. Reports started coming in about this huge snake-like creature.
How big are we talking?
Descriptions vary, but often over 30 feet long, smooth, dark skin, and get this, glowing eyes.
Glowing eyes. Okay, that's creepy. And it would just appear.
Yeah, suddenly surface near boats, turn up the water violently, and then just gone, slip back under.
Now, the source does mention skeptical takes, right? Like, maybe it's just logs or a big fish.
Oh, sure, floating logs, maybe a particularly large sturgeon. Those explanations are there, but then...
It connects it to something older, indigenous lore.
Exactly. It points specifically to Ojibwe legends of Mishipeshu, the water panther.
Mishipeshu?
Not just an animal. This is a powerful being. Horned, scaled, said to rule the depths, cause storms.
And the source asks if the sea serpent sightings and Mishipeshu could be essentially the same thing. different ways of describing encounters with something powerful and unknown in the lake.
Precisely. It links those modern sort of cryptid reports with deep, ancient traditions, which is fascinating.
It really is. And there's another creature mentioned, something tied to the ice, the Mugwump.
Yes. This one's associated with the far north of the lake, especially in deep winter when everything's frozen solid.
So under the ice.
Right. There's this account from the 1980s fishermen, ice fishing. They said the strange, slick head just rose up out of the hole they'd cut in the ice.
Whoa. Did they describe it?
Vividly. Kind of horse-like, apparently, but with these dead black eyes and long whiskers.
And what did it do?
Just stared at them. Silently. Then slipped back down under the ice. Gone.
That's unsettling. Theories about what it could be.
The material mentions a few. Maybe some kind of prehistoric survivor, hiding in the deep cold.
Ugh.
Or maybe more of a spirit of that frozen solitude.
The fact that it's seen when the lake is frozen solid, that adds another layer of weirdness. Like it exists outside the normal rules.
Definitely. It makes you think, what else is down there, moving around under all that ice?
Okay, shifting focus a bit, but staying in the region's sort of spooky lore, the Nain Rouge.
The red dwarf of Detroit. Now, our source is clear. This isn't a lake creature per se.
Right, more of a regional figure, but tied into the area's bad luck, maybe.
Exactly. It's described as a kind of wicked spirit or an imp. Red eyes, sharp teeth, the works. And its role is as a harbinger.
Meaning it shows up before something bad happens.
Precisely. It's seen as a warning sign of impending disaster for Detroit.
And there's an origin story involving the city's founder.
Yeah, Cadillac. Legend says he met the Nain Rouge, got angry or arrogant, and actually struck it with his cane.
Probably not a good move.
Apparently not. The Nain Rouge supposedly cursed him and cursed the city for generations to come.
And people claim to have seen it before. Actual modern disasters.
Chillingly, yes. The material mentions reported sightings linked to things like the 1967 riots, the big 2003 blackout, even economic troubles.
Wow. Is it still a thing people talk about?
Very much so. There's even an annual parade now, the Marché du Nain Rouge, where people symbolically chase it out of the city.
Trying to break the curse.
Something like that. But the source notes that many still believe that curse, or at least the entity's presence as a bad omen, lingers. A persistent kind of regional dread.
Fascinating. Okay, back to the lake itself. The source talks about forces recognized long before Europeans arrived. Ancient guardians.
Yes, drawing again on indigenous understanding, particularly Ojibwe lore, it highlights two major figures.
Mishipeshu, the water panther, we mentioned him.
Right. Described again here. Scales, tail, burning eyes. Living under the water, guarding copper, controlling currents, and getting furious if disrespected. A really powerful underwater force.
And his rival.
The Thunderbird. Living up in the skies.
So water versus air.
Exactly. And their clashes were apparently epic. Imagine lightning splitting the sky, thunder booming across the whole lake. That was Mishipeshu and the Thunderbird going at it.
And the key point the source makes is that for the Ojibwe, these weren't just stories.
Not just myths for entertainment, no. They were seen as vital warnings, reminders about the lake's power, about the need for humility and respect when on those waters.
A very different relationship with the lake than, say, just seeing it as a resource.
Absolutely. It's about balance, respect, acknowledging something powerful and alive.
Which brings us to another concept, the Lake Michigan Triangle.
Ah, okay, like the Bermuda Triangle, but...
Sort of, yeah. Some believe there's a specific zone in Lake Michigan that's prone to weird happenings.
Whereabouts is this supposed triangle? Our material sketches it out, roughly. From Manitowoc over in Wisconsin, across to Ludington, Michigan, and then sort of south to Benton Harbor.
And what happens in this zone, according to the lore?
Well, the list is pretty dramatic. Ships vanishing without a trace, planes going down, compasses going haywire, that kind of thing.
Any specific examples given?
The big one cited is Northwest Airlines Flight 2501, 1950.
What happened?
It just vanished. Over the lake, 58 people on board, gone.
And no wreckage, no bodies.
Just like the Griffon centuries earlier, basically nothing found. Just silence, utter disappearance.
So theories about why this happens in that area.
The source touches on a few possibilities. Electromagnetic anomalies messing with navigation, secret government testing, even alien involvement gets mentioned.
The usual suspects for unexplained phenomena, then.
Pretty much, but ultimately the material concludes that the truth behind these events, especially Flight 2501, is simply lost. Another layer of mystery the lake holds on to.
Along the shoreline itself, you've got all those lighthouses, sentinels. Do they have stories too?
Oh, absolutely. Given everything else we've talked about, it's probably no surprise. Many have ghost stories attached.
Any standouts in the material?
It highlights the old Presque Isle lighthouse. Caretakers there reported seeing the light on in the tower.
Okay, that's what lights do.
After the bulb had been taken out.
Ah, right, that's different.
Yeah. The belief connects it to a former keeper, a guy named George, who supposedly loved his job so much he just refused to leave, even after death, still tending the light.
Wow. And out on the water itself? More ghost ships.
Yeah.
Besides the Christmas tree ship.
Yes. Mentions of other phantom schooners. Seen moving silently, no crew visible, just sailing across the horizon, then maybe disappearing into a fog bank.
What does the source suggest these sightings mean?
It leaves it a bit open-ended, which is interesting. Are they just echoes from the past? Messages from those lost sailors? Or maybe warnings of some kind? Spectral omens?
Leaves you wondering, doesn't it?
It really does.
So when you pull all these threads together, the lost ships, the creatures, the regional spirits, the ancient guardians, the triangle, the ghosts,
What picture does our source material paint of Lake Michigan?
it paints it as anything but an ordinary lake. It comes across as almost a portal. A keeper of stories that are too strange, too persistent to just brush aside.
There's a depth of history there and mystery that feels pretty unique.
Absolutely. Unlike almost anywhere else in North America, perhaps, from those first European explorers losing ships right up to a modern airliner vanishing.
And everything in between. The monsters, the spirits.
The source presents the lake as being, in some way, alive, in ways we don't fully get.
Alive and remembering.
That's the strong implication, that the lake holds on to these things. Every lost soul, every whispered story, every unsolved mystery, they're still there somehow.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground. The Griffon, the Rouse, Simmons, the sea serpent, the Mugwump, Under the Ice.
The Nain Rouge in Detroit, Mishipeshu, the Thunderbird, that chilling Lake Michigan triangle. Haunted lighthouses, ghost ships. It's quite a collection of lore.
It really is. A rich, sometimes pretty unsettling tapestry, all woven from centuries of people interacting with this huge, powerful, and mysterious body of water.
Definitely makes you think differently about the lake, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Makes you look twice.
For sure. And the source material actually leaves us with a final, quite provocative thought, something for you, the listener, to maybe carry with you.
What's that?
It suggests that the next time you find yourself near Lake Michigan, maybe you feel like you're being watched, or you see a shape just for a second under the water.
Yeah?
Don't automatically jump to fear. Instead, just listen.
Listen.
Because maybe, just maybe, the lake is still speaking.